Okay, good Erev Shabbos. Kuf Nun Vav Amid Beis. We're up to the Mishnah. Rabbi Eliezer Omer. Some people are Goris Chachamim will keep Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, as opposed to last Gemara that was Rabbi Lazar. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, B'Shabbos Devar of Kayamim. A Shchiv Meira that's giving away his property, right, would not have to make a kinyan on Shabbos because Divrei Shchiv Meira is kiksuvim uchim surim dami on Shabbos. If they say lichtov, because you're not able to write. Avaloi b'choil. Says Rabbi Eliezer, by b'choil, where you could make a kinyan and you could write, then we don't say divrei shchivira is kiksuvim uchim surim dami. Rabbi Yeshua Omer, b'Shabbos amru. On Shabbos they said divrei shchivira kiksuvim uchim surim dami. Kal v'chomer b'choil. Similar, so certainly kal v'chomer in the week. Guys, listen to this svara. We add a Gemara in Menachos. We bring it all the time. If a person says, I want to bring a carbon of 60 sarin, so he brings a carbon of 60 sarin. If he wants to bring a carbon of 61, he's got to bring in two separate kalim. Right? The Gemara says, what's the svara? The Gemara says, a kli of 60 can hold 60 and oil, and if you don't mix it, it's okay. You know why? Because you could mix it. 61 you can't mix. So this is the svara that kol sheroya lebila, anything that's ready to be mixed, ain bila makeves, it's not what? It's not ma'akev, so you don't need it. So says Rabbi Yeshua, on Shabbos, I can't make a kinyan. On Shabbos, it's not roya lebila. On Shabbos, it's not ready to make a kinyan. And nonetheless, what? It works kal v'chomer during the week, where it is roya lebila, where I could make a kinyan, kal v'chomer, if I don't make a kinyan, meaning only amira, it works. You know, the svara of Rabbi Yeshua is based upon that concept. So again, one more time. If anything that you possibly could do, since you could do it, if you don't do it, it's okay. So memela, on Shabbos, can I make a kinyan? B'derabbanan, no. Seira can't make a kinyan. Yet, you said divrei shchimira is kiksuv mechsur as if you made a kinyan. Kal v'chomer during the week where I could make a kinyan, ain't I din that I don't have to. That's Rabbi Yeshua. That's his kal v'chomer. That's his kal v'chomer. Nimsa fellas, we have three shitas in divrei shchimira kiksuv mechsur dami. We have three shitas. One shita is Rebbe Lazar, that it never helps. One sheet is Rebbe Lazar, that it never helps. You always have to make a kinyan. That was the previous Mishnah. A second kinyan, Rabbi Eliezer, who says on Shabbos it works, but not during the week. And Rabbi Yeshua, who we paskin like that it always works. Right? Rabbi Yeshua, like we paskin like it always works. So three separate what? Three separate manda amen. Okay, and we paskin divrei shchimra kiksum sumidami, whether it's Shabbos or whether it is during the week. Kiyaitzabai, a similar idea. Kiyaitzabai, zachin lekatan, vein zachin legadol. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer, right? You're zeicha for a cotton, but you can't be zeicha for a gadol, right? You can be zeicha for a cotton, you can't be zeicha for a gadol. Why is that similar to, right? On Shabbos you can't write. A cotton can't be kaina, it can't be zeicha for himself, can't be kaina. So in Mela, you could do it for him. So too, you can't make a kinyan on Shabbos. So Mela, Amira works. Vein zachin legadol, right? Where a kinyan does work, then you can't go ahead and make a kinyan. So where he could be zeicha himself, then you can't be zeicha for him. That's the kiyotzeba of Rebbe Eliezer. They're Rebbe Eliezer. Rabbi Yeshua Omer lekatan amru kal v'chomer legadol. Ma'atach lekatan, who cannot make a kinyan. You could, certainly for a gadol that could make a kinyan, you could. Right? That's mamish, the svara what of Bila, right? The same svara, right? Just like Bila what is not ma'akiv, because you could do it. So too by gadol, since he could do it, you could do it for him. Now, we have the concept of zachin lad mishlei b'fanav, correct? So adarabba, I would think more svara that for a cotton, like you could be zeicha. Like why couldn't you be zeicha for a cotton? Like why couldn't you be zeicha what? For a cotton. So you look at the bottom Tosfos. Zachin legadol vein zachin lekatan. Okay, this is the svara of. This is shaykh l'daf kufnan zayin. Then Toima, Lama ain't Zachan L'Katan. Alay Zachan L'Adam Shlei B'Fanav. Fellas, anytime something is good for somebody, yes, anything's good for somebody, you're doing the person a solid by going ahead and doing it throughout Shas. Zachan L'Adam Shlei B'Fanav. So why can't, what's the svar that you shouldn't be able to be Zeicha for a cotton? Yesh Leimar, Kimin the Schia Mitam Shlichas. Since it says Taisvis, Schia works Mitam Shlichas, Man de Matzi Mash Shliach, someone who can make a Shliach, Yesh La Schia, that you could be Zeicha for him. Uman de Loi Matzi Mash Shliach, a cotton that cannot make a Shliach, Ein Loi Schia. Good? So that's the Svara, guys. That's the Svara. Uman de Islay Zachan LeCotton Bein Zachan LeGadol. I L'chayra, if it's Mitam Shlichus, and a Gadol could be Mishaleach, so why in the world can't you be Zeicha for a Gadol, according to that opinion? Srirle, keeping the Gadol Yachal Liknais, like Tikkun Rabban and Zechia K'mayv the cotton. Since he's able to do it, they weren't attacking the Rachom, weren't attacking Zechia because of the cotton. Okay, this is a Lamda Shetaisis. But basically, I want you to know the idea that if Zechia is Mitam Shlichus, that's why it wouldn't work for a cotton. Okay, says the Gemara. We're going to say that the Mishnah is the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda and not Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says the opposite. Our Mishnah says that Rabbi Eliezer says on Shabbos, yes, during the week, not. And we're going to see that there's an opinion that he said the opposite. Masisa Mani, who's the Tana of the Mishnah? Rabbi Yehuda, the Tanya, Rabbi Meir Omer, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, B'choil Devar Kayomim. During the week, yes, because he could do it. Al B'Shabbos, Avaloi B'Shabbos. So it's the exact opposite of what we said. Guys, in our Mishnah, Shabbos, yes, during the week, not. Rabbi Meir is saying in the Shittas Rabbi Eliezer, during the week, yes, Shabbos, not. Rabbi Yeshua Omer, Kava B'choil, Amru, Kava Chaim L'Shabbos, the opposite. B'choil and Kava Chaim L'Shabbos. Kiyotzeba, Zachan L'Gadol, and Zachan L'Katan, Divrei Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Yeshua Omer, B'Gadol, Amru, Kava Chaim L'Katan. That's the opposite of the Mishnah. Now, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, B'Shabbos, Dvar Kayomim, you do say Divrei Shchimira on Shabbos, not during the week. That's our Mishnah. Rabbi Yeshua Omer b'Shabbos Amru Kavachaymer during the week where you could make a kinyan. So clearly, our Mishnahs are going according to the Shita of Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi said the opposite. Just picking Rabbi Eliezer, our Mishnah said Shabbos yes, during the week not. Rabbi said during the week yes, Shabbos not. That's not the case. And therefore, it's the Shittas Rabbi Yehuda who said Shabbos yes, during the week not. Says the Mishnah. Okay, this is interesting din in Sveikas. You have a case where a guy doesn't have a dime. He has no money, but he has a father who has property. The guy who doesn't have a dime has a Baal Chayv, and he doesn't have what to collect. But if this person's father predeceases him, then he will inherit it, and then the Baal Chayv will have what to collect. So again, this guy he's a Baal Chayv, he owes money. He doesn't have a dime to his name, but he has a father. If he would be Yovish the father, he would then be able to go ahead and pay up the loan. Good. If he would predecease the father, then what? Then the Baal Chayv is out. He has nothing, correct? Says the Mishnah. Nafala bias alav the al aviv. The bias falls on him and his father. So guys, let's figure it out. He falls on him and his father. So now, what would the Baal Chayv want? Who to die first? Him or the father? Obviously, he'd want the father to die first, because if the father dies first, then this person inherits him, and therefore the Baal Chayv can collect. Okay? Or al aviv or yalav the al moirishav, a person that his brothers or whatever, uncles. And he has a ksubas isha to pay up, Baal Chayv, or he has a Baal Chayv to pay up. Now, those people who inherit the father say, Haben Meis Rishain, the Ben died first, V'yakach Meis Av, and then the father died. So therefore, if the son died first, the Baal Chayv doesn't have what to collect from, and we can collect everything. The Baal Chayv of the dead son says, no, Ha'av Meis Rishain, the father died first. And since the father died first, the son inherited him. And since the son inherited him, I have a place to collect from. What's the din? So again, depending upon the order of birth, of death, the Baal Chayv will either be able to collect or not be able to collect. If the son predeceased the father, then the Baal Chayv doesn't have a place to collect from. If the father predeceases the son, and therefore the son inherits the father, then the Baal Chayv has something to collect from. So each one's coming to go ahead and so the Yorshei Av saying that the son died first. The Baal Chayv is saying the father died first. Who do you believe? It's a suffix. Says the Gemara, Beis Shammai Yoimrim Yechlaiku. Beis Shammai says you're going to divide it. What's the source of Beis Shammai? Let's see Rashbam. Beis Shammai Yoimrim Yechlaiku. Ki defarish time be Yavamis Ba'chaylitz. This parak, the sugya is in Yavamis. The Afagav, the Yorshei Av Vada Yorshim, even though the Yorshei Av Vada Yorshim, behind Mamin, Ubal Chayv Suffolk. So you have a case, guys. You have the father dying, right? The Yorshim are going to collect from the father. It's a suffix whether the Baal Chayv collects it all. And we say ain't suffix might seem they vadai. So l'chayra what? The Baal Chayv should not get anything, guys, right? Ain't suffix might seem they vadai. Vadai, the father's Yorshim are going to inherit. They're both dead. The father's eventually they're going to get, right? Even if what the son doesn't inherit everything, I assume so. That this Yorshei Av are going to get something. So l'chayra, that's a vadai. Well, the Baal Chayv gets in that as a suffix. He would only get if the son outlives the father, because he's suffix might seem vadai. Why? Why over here are we saying suffix might seem vadai? That yachloku. K'savi beishamai shtara oimid ligvois is kagavi dami. A star that is standing to be collected is considered collected. It's Shavayu Vadai Chashivi, and therefore they're both considered Vadoyim. This person has a Shtar Chayv. Person has a Shtar Chayv. Or the Ksuba Sisha has a Shtar Chayv. A Shtar Chayv is the Ksuba. That they have it, it's not Pshat that they have a right to collect. It's Pshat is it's considered collected already. So it's not a suffix whether they can collect or not. Vadai they can collect. And therefore, it says you have Vadai and a Vadai, and the question is who died first? But it's not a case of suffix. Vadai, the Baal Chayv and the Isha have a right to collect. So that's Beis Shammai. Beis Hillel Savri, the Chazaka is in the Yorshei Av. They have it. Says Rashbam. Beis Hillel Savri, Nechasim b'cheskasan, b'cheskas Yorshei Av. It stays by the father. Shayheim Yorshim Vadai. Oy me Yaakov, oy me Ruvain, u'k'mechzakim dami. Shay Yaakov muchzik b'nechasav. Yaakov is muchzik in his property. The ilu boyim mikoychoy. Okay, well he's giving a case. Okay, anyway, so you have the case of Machlokes Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai using the chiddush of kol oimei ligbois is kigavli dami, and therefore what it's considered collected, and therefore yechloku. They both are vadoyim. Says Beis Hillel, no, it's ain't suffix mitzvah de vadai. Vadai was muchzik and the money the Yorshei Av. The Baal Chayv would have to go ahead and bring a raya that the father died first. Okay, the Gemara, guys, is going to ask a shaila, and as always, when you ask a shaila which seems to not to do with anything, the Gemara is going to bring in our Mishnah then to be paisha the shaila. The Gemara is going to bring in the Mishnah to be paisha the shaila. Okay. Tanan Hasa. Hamal be'eschadera b'shtar. Milva b'shtar. Goyvim nechasim b'shibadim. Pirish. Guys, as we know, if there's a milva b'shtar, there's a coil that this guy's property is what has a lien on it. If you're a lekeach and you go ahead and buy this property, and now he forecloses on you, you're tough luck because you knew for sure there was a lien on this property. That's only a milva al peh, milva b'shtar. A milva al peh, there's no coil, and therefore the lekeach could not possibly have known, and therefore the Baal Chayv cannot go ahead and collect from the lekeach. This is Mishubadim 101. This is really, it's the funniest thing. We have it throughout Shas. It's the last parak in Baba Basra. But then it's pierced throughout Shas. Tan Hasam. You know what the Hasam is? Is the Kamon Kuf Ayin Hey, guys. It doesn't get later than that. Right? It doesn't get later. That's the last daf in this Masechta. And that's the source. So anyway. Tan Hasam. Amal Veschaver Bishtar. Goyim Mishchas Mishubadim. Al Yedei Eidim. That's a milval peh. No kasha. No. Now, here's the shaila. Boy Shmuel. The ikne. The kana mahu. Okay, so let's say you have two people. You have Reuven and Shimon, right? Shimon lends money to Reuven, Reuven has property, and he writes in the star the following: not only is the property that I have now meshubah to you, but any property that I will go ahead and acquire, you'll be able to collect from. The ikni that I will acquire, the Kana and Reuven then goes ahead and acquires it. Reuven then goes ahead and acquires the property. Would Shimon be able to collect from that property? That's the whole shaila of the Gemara. That's the whole shaila of the Gemara. Again, is Mishubadim only on the properties holding in the time of the loan, or even what, and property that what comes later on? Tan Hasa. Okay, so therefore, that's the shaila. Boy Shmuel, the Ikne v'Kana Mahu. Now, what's the studim of the shaila? What's the studim? Let's see Rashbam. Mahu. Mitorf milakuches nechosim shekona aloiva acha ksivus ashtar umochron le'elu. So l'chayra guys, you could say that what, after all, he owes them money, so let him go ahead and collect from this. Or you could say, guys, it wasn't in the world at the time. It wasn't here. So it says the Gemara. First the Gemara. I'll leave it to Reb Meir, like Reb Meir, who says a person can be makna something that's not in the world, like Tiboylach, the Vadai Kana. Vada, the Balchayv is kind of Elakiti Boylach. When's the Shaila? I'll leave it to Rabbanan, the army, Aino the makna davar shlaba. A person cannot be makna davar shlaba. Okay, that's the Shaila. Okay, I jumped the gun on the Rashbam. I'll leave it to Red Meir, says the Rashbam before it's thin 2 lines. Gabi Oima Leisha Hariyat Mukudesh Sleibach Shiyam Sheikh. It says to an Isha, a married woman, you should be Mukudeshes to me when your husband dies. He says to his sister-in-law, when your sister dies, my wife, I should marry you. After you're Magaya. I'm a Jew, you're a Gieris. You're a guy. Loiti Bailach, the Vadai Kana. The Kivin the Paris Dekel, the Dayan Leibola Oilam Kana, Kolshkain the Mishabid Le Karkois, the Osila Alma. In other words, according to that person can be Makna Davish Oilam, Vadai, Madach guys, the Paris are not in this world. They're not in this world. Yet when they come in the world, you acquire it. Certainly land that is in this world, it exists. It's just not in my possession. Certainly you would acquire it. Guys, you hear the svara, fellas. By a tree and the Paris, they're not in the world at all. Yet Reb Meir says that what? You could be kind of them. Certainly the land, which is in the world, it's just not in my possession. And you know, he didn't that what? You could be maknid. Okay, you could be kind of, okay? So that is no shayla according to him. Ela shadayin lekona loiva b'shosh shasha, but the loiva did not acquire at the time of the shibud. There's no shayla. So again, madach, something that's totally not in the world yet, you could acquire. Certainly something that is in the world, just not in my possession, you could acquire. Elakiti boylach aliv d'rabbanan. My, mi shiny shibud mi kinyan. Guys, is shibud different than a kinyan? Could a person be mishabed a davish le'bal? Fellas, can a person be mishabed davish le'bal? I know you can't be makna davish le'bal, but can a person be mishabed something? That's the shaila. V'taimer kideprecious, and the reason is because it's in the world. Here it, guys, it's in the world now. It's just not in my possession, but it's in the world. Inami al murabanan l'shibud yoisem kinyan. It's better the shibud more than a kinyan, like tinel delis if they love in Eloi. In other words, we know the reason why a balchayv collects from Baininus is because if you collect from Ziburius, people will not be prone to go ahead and lend money. So in order to incentivize a person to lend money, we say a balchayv goes from Baininus. If you tell me that anything that this person acquires and he goes ahead is not meshubah to me, so it's not going to incentivize me to go ahead and lend the money. But if I know that even anything he acquires, I would have what a shibud on, that would go ahead what and incentivize me to give him a loan. So that's the shmak shayla over here. Can a person be mishabed a davar shel? One side is that what either it's in the world just not my possession, or svara that in other words to enhance the person's desire to go ahead and give a loan, therefore will allow him to collect from what something that it was not in the possession of the labor. Okay, that's the shayla. Okay, says the Gemara. Toshma. Okay, here's the case. The case is in Ksubis. In the last parak in Ksubis. Last daf. A person goes ahead and he has a shtar chayv on his friend. He has a shtar chayv on his friend. His friend owes him money. And now he produces a shtar that you, the malva, sold the field to the loiva. Now, if someone owes you money in a million years, are you going to go ahead and sell him a field? Obviously, it must be. So the loiva time is, the loiva says what? Says the loiva, I don't owe you anything. If I owe you something, why in the world would you be selling me a field? You can imagine. Guy comes to you and says, can I borrow $50,000? You say, okay, here, $50,000. And then the guy says, oh, can I sell you my field? The guy doesn't, he needed the money, and now you're selling him a field? So obviously, if the guy kind of, you never lent me the money in the world, it's the fact that you sold him a field would apparently say that what? That he's right. That's Admon. That's what Admon claims. You know what the Chacham say? They say this guy's a smart guy. You know what he did? For all intents and purposes, he assured him that you're going to pay him back because he has a mashkin. He has that field. That field's a mashkin. That you know it'll be on that field. In other words, that field would be meshubit to him. Guys, what do we need? Guys, what do we need? Eye contact. What do we need? We need the fact that Loite Chachamim, the field that he sold him after the loan, would be meshubit to him. So what do you see? That a person could be kind of what? Something, even though it came after the loan. The field that I sold you after the loan, I'm going to be able to collect from. Isn't that a shaila? Whether a person can be maknawat because it's in the world. So that's the chayra what the Gemara wants to tie right now. The chachamim, you're picking up in the middle. After Admin said that you're not kaina, this guy who went ahead and sold it is a smart guy. He sold in the field because now he can make a mashkin on it. So what do you see? You see a person could go ahead and do it. That he himself could go ahead and collect something that he acquires afterwards. Fellas, guys, look. Guys, outside. Eye contact. You lend someone $50,000. He doesn't have a dime to pay. And then what happens? He inherits or he acquires a field, a matana or something. He gets something afterwards. Are you going to tell me since that wasn't around at the time of the loan, you won't be able to collect it? No one would say that in a million years. If you have a shibud on the guy owes you money, you can collect even from the shirt on his back. That never was a shaila. A shaila is never what, whether the person acquires it and you yourself, the Baal Chayv. A shaila is if he goes ahead and sells it or he dies and he's moirish it, can the other person collect? That's the shaila. In other words, I know if I'm a Baal Chayv, I can collect from what he has at the time. If he acquires something, right, and then he sells it, or he dies and it goes to somebody else, can I then collect it despite the fact it arrived after the loan? So that's the whole shayla. Not you collecting from the Baal Chayv himself. Of course you do. The Baal Chayv owes you, he owes you. The shayla is if that thing that he acquired is no longer in his possession, either because he's dead or he sold it or something. Can you get it or not? That's the shayla. If there was a shibud on it, you can get it. If not, not. That's the shayla. So says Rava, you want to bring me a mraya from the machlokes of Admoin and Chachamim and Ksubas Daf Kuf Yud? No, of course, that's never a shayla. Minei, from him, of course he can collect. Him, I feel him a glimadal katfa, even the shirt on his back you can collect from. That's not a shayla. Where's a shayla? Ki komi boilon, the ekni, vikana, umachar. He wrote in the star that I will acquire, he acquired and he sold. The ikne, kana, v'hoirish. That I will acquire, he acquired and he died and he bequeathed it to somebody. Can the Baal Chayv collect from that lokeach? Can the Baal Chayv collect from that yoirish? That's the shaila. So the Gemara went ahead, asked the shaila. The Gemara tried to be patient with the shaila, and now the Gemara qualified the shaila more. The Gemara qualified the shaila. Is there a shibud on that he acquired afterwards if it transfers to somebody else? Either a Yairish or a Lekeach, a second Lekeach. So Amrav Chana Tashma, guess what? Behold, our Mishnah, guys. Our Mishnah. Nafal Abayas Alav. V'al Aviv, the bias falls on him. And his father, Alav V'al Marishav. or it falls on him, on those people who can inherit him. Yarshei Av Oimrim, Haben Meis Rishon, the Ben died first. The Akach Mesa Av, and therefore you Baal Chov have no place to collect from. Guys, this is going to be the raya. The Bali Chayvais Oimrim Av Meis Rishon. Visal Gedaitach, the Ikne Kana Umachar, the Ikne Kana Vahirish, Leibishtabdi, Nihi Nami, the Av Mayas Beresha. Good, the father died first. If the father dies first, so what's the claim of the Marishim? The Baal Chayv will still be able to collect it, right? Guys, you have the father, you have the son, you have the Baal Chayv. Now, here's the shaila. Does this Baal Chayv collect from the loiva something he acquires after the halva? The Yarshia, I want to taina. Well, if he dies first, that he died first, so he gets it, right? The Baal Chayv is claiming, well, he died first and the son got it. Now, what kind of claim is that? He got this when after this sale went through. Ella, if he made that claim, that what? That if the father died, he inherited. So what do you have a raya? That property that came into his possession after the halva, I can collect. One more time. What's the claim? What's the claim of the Baal Chayv? That the father died first. Good. If the father died first, the son inherited. Now, this son is inheriting way after the loan took place. So this is our shaila. The property that comes afterwards, is it meshubit to the Baal Chayv? Can the Baal Chayv collect? You see from the taina of the Baal Chayv that the father died first, that you could collect. Because that's his taina. The father died first, you, the Baal Chayv, are collecting. Now you died. In other words, you were moirishit. Now I want to collect from you. Property that you got, you inherited. I want to collect from you. And I could, or else what's my taina? So you see, can answer the Shmuel Shaila that nechosim that the loiva acquires after the shibud would be meshubit to what? To the Baal Chayv. Okay, that's it's a great raya, and that's why we brought this in, because we're using our Mishnah to be paisha the Shaila. Hesha, you good? You look good. Okay, says the Gemara. Let's see it inside. It's not mishtabid. Good, the father died first, and the son inherits. The iknihu, it's a case of ikni, and what? And therefore the Baal Chayv should not be able to collect. Ella, when you see the Baal Chayv could collect, is the haraya. Amalu Rav Nachman Zira Chavrin Tirgum Mitzvah Al Yisoimim Lefroya Chayvus Avihim. Right. In other words, there's a mitzvah for the. It could be he inherits. Why is he paying off? Not because what? Not because not because there's a shibud on the property, but the father had a chayv, and it's a mitzvah to pay off a chayv. You know, la'achamei v'esem shana, a person goes to Shemayim. When it comes to dinei mamanis, you can't be meichel on that. It's too late. You got to make sure that you're squeaky clean when it comes to dinei mamanis. So therefore, his father died and he had a chayv on his head. So it's a mitzvah to pay off, not al shibud, because it's not mishubed. It's just a mitzvah to pay off. Let's see the Rashbam, guys. Mitzvah al yisoimim, 4 lines up from the bottom. It's not that he wrote that any property I acquire, v'gavi kana u'machar le'mishabe, and you would not be mishubed. Elagabe yarshim mishum mitzvah, on the yarshim it's a mitzvah to pay. But I feel like kasav lo di'ikni, even if you didn't write any property that I acquired, even if you didn't write any property I acquired, mishtabe yarish l'milva mishum mitzvah ali assignment. In other words, even if you didn't write anything, the mitzvah and the assignment to pay up would have nothing to do with a shibud. It would have to do what? With it's mishubin machmas mitzvah, not machmas any property that I acquire. So you can't be placed with the shayla from here. So in other words, what's his taina? His claim is the father died first. He inherited. Now who's he coming, guys? He's coming to the children of the dead loiva, right? Grandfather died, loiva, the father dies, he inherits him. Now it comes to the Yarshim. The Yarshim, the Yisaimis want to pay off the Baal Chayv. Machmas is a mitzvah to go ahead and pay it up. But not because there's a shibud, not because he wrote any property that I acquire is meshubed. In other words, the shibud seems to be on them to pay up rather than on the property per se, if that's correct. Says the Gemara, let's try again to be Paisha the Shaila. Maskelu Ravashi, Milval Pehu, you're telling me that what? If that's the case, it's in Milval Peh. The Rav Shmuel Damit Shavayu, Milval Peh, Ein Goy V'loy Min HaYoshim, V'loy Min HaLekuchis. If you're telling me there's no shibud on the property, fellas, what is it? It's only Milval Peh. There's no mitzvah then to pay it up. Bishleim, if you tell me there's a shibud on the property, so it's a mitzvah to go ahead and pay up that property to the leiva, to the malva. Guys. A guy dies. He had a halva. He had a property that was meshubid b'shas the halva. Now he's no longer in the world. There's a mitzvah to go ahead, take that property that had a lien on it, and pay up to the malva. If there's metaltalin, there's no mitzvah. You don't go even metaltalin from your simon. A milva al peh, there's no shibin on that. Therefore, there's no mitzvah to pay it up. So therefore, it doesn't make any sense to say this svara that you're telling me. There would be no mitzvah. If you're telling me there's a mitzvah, you mean it's a milva al peh. If it's a milva al peh, there is no shaila. Our whole shaila is where it's a milva b'shtar, and there's a shibur on the property. So if that's the case, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, let's see Rashbam. V'omar Rav Shmuel Damet Shavayu, l'kamon beget pasha, 2 lines from the bottom. Milva al peh ein goyvim min hayarshin. V'chiyam arminon mitzvah liyasaymim hani mili milva b'shtar. U'shmuel gufohu dekamaboyle haboy v'imkein choshev didei adidei kosher didei adidei. Okay, if that's the case, the mitzvah yisaymim is hani mili b'shtar. When is the mitzvah yisaymim? Dafke b'shtar. And therefore, you end up asking a steer later on Shmuel. But the bottom line is, we're good. Says the Gemara. So therefore, guys, your teretz that you're giving now doesn't make a lot of sense. You're saying our Mishnah is speaking where what? Where it's a milva, it's a mitzvah, it's machmas that what? It's a mitzvah to pay up. Then it's speaking about a milva al peh, and therefore milva al peh, you got a problem. The milva al peh is dafka. Okay, says the Gemara. Milva al peh ain't a guy v'loy min hayashim v'loy min l'kuchis. Amid beis. So back to the original. You could be placed at the shaila. Be placed at the shaila that what? That the taina of the milva that he died first. The Baal Chayv, he died first. The father, then the son. That you can be placed at shaila that what? That you could collect from the chassan that the leiver acquires afterwards. Ella, why can't you be placed from our Mishnah? Hamani, who's the Tan of our Mishnah, is Reb Meir. The Tan of our Mishnah is Reb Meir. Dama, Oda Makna Davar Shaloilam. As we began the shir, the whole shaila is according to the Mandiyama that ain't Oda Makna Davar Shaloilam. Ain't Oda Makna Davar Shaloilam. Our whole shaila is according to the right. But according to Reb Meir, there's no shaila. Our Mishnah is Reb Meir. So Taka, our Mishnah is speaking about where you are kind of. But why? Because since it's a kal v'chomer, madach peiros which are not in the world, you could be makna. Certainly karka which was in the world, it just wasn't in his possession, you could be makna. So therefore, you can't be placed the shaila from our Mishnah. Rav Yaakov min our pocket mishmei de Ravina toshma. Now, yeah, guys, let's say shtar chayv mukdim, shtar chayv mu'ocher. What's a shtar chayv mukdim? Shtar chayv mukdim is puzzle. You go ahead. And in September, you're going to go ahead and date a loan. And the loan didn't take place until what? Until January. So it's dated in September, and it's the loan takes place in January. So any property that is from September to January really is free and clear. There's no shibin on it. But a guy shows up, and look, the shtar is dated in September. And you're going to collect all those properties shleikadin. So therefore, a shtar that is mukdim, what is puzzle? Okay. What about shtar ma'ocha? Shtar ma'ocha is kosher, meaning the loan took place in September, and it's dated in January. So the milva is losing out the possibility to go ahead and collect what? Property from September to January, right? That's the shamucha. Again, there's nothing wrong with it. It's nothing shloi kedin. It's a malva being business foolish, but it's so therefore it's kasha because no one's going to lose. The only one losing is the malva, and the malva went through with it. Okay, so therefore, shtarcha mukdamim psulim. Of course, you can go ahead and you'll have a lien on a property shloi kedin. But where it's mocha, meaning that the date post dates the loan. The loan is earlier than ksherim. The ikni kana umachar, the ikni kana v'hayrish loy mishtabid. If you're going to tell me that you're right, the ikni kana umachar, the ikni kana v'hayrish loy mishtabid, mucharim amai ksherim. The ikni hu. Why am mucharim ksherim? It's the chayra case of the ikni of what I would get in the future. If you're telling me it's not meshubit, right? So what does the shtar say? The loan took place when? In September. When is it dated? It's dated in January. So therefore, anything that comes place after September is considered ikni, right? So if you're going to tell me it's not meshubit, how could they collect? Right? How could they collect from that? Let's see Rashi. Let's see Rashbam. Mucharam Mike Sherim, Kishalayva Benisin, when he took the halva took place what in Nisan, Benichta B'Tishrei. Okay, so again, the loan took place in September and it was dated in January. V'halo Shema Konazeh Me'ilin Chasim Bein Nisan L'Tishrei. Maybe he's going to acquire property between the time of the loan and the time it's stated. And it won't be meshubah to the malva. The iknihu b'shas halva, because what? It was acquired at the time after the halva. But Torah Yavai Litrach miTishrei ve'elach, and the Torah is going to come to go ahead and collect from Tishrei and onwards. Shaloi kedin min alakuchis shekona min aloivet nechasim hakanuyim loy minisin raTishrei. He's going to go ahead and collect from the lakuchis who acquired it from the time where apparently there was no loan. So in other words, al shmami no, the ikni mishabed must be that ikni is mishubed. We're not worried about that. We're not worried about what a person coming along and collecting from a property that was acquired before the loan was, after the loan, but before it was dated. As I state in the Gemara. Okay. It says Gemara Hamani Reb Meir the Amar Adam Makna Davar Shel Baloylam. Rav Mishashia says Rav Mishashia Mishmei de Rava says Rav Mishashia in the name of Rava Toshma. Okay, what's Shvach Kakois, guys? The guy goes ahead. He takes a land away from somebody because there's a shibud on it. He improves the land, and then comes along the original owner and takes it back. So what happens? You have a malva and a loiva. So the malva goes ahead, takes the property. The loiva takes the property and sells it. The person buys it, improves the property. There was a lien on this property. Comes along the malva, collects the property. He's collecting what? He's collecting the whole property. Not only the original property, but anything that was improved on the property. Loikeach now is coming back to the original owner, the loiva. He's collecting both. He's collecting the original property and the shvach of the property. And he's collecting the shvach. He collects the original property from the chasim mishubadim, but he collects what? The shvach only from the chasim b'nei chayrin. Okay, so now, with that in mind, Amr Shir Mishmei de Rava, Toshma, the shvach hakois ketzad, Harishmacha sad l'chaveiroi. Reuven sells the field to Shimon, Bishbicha, and Shimon improves the field. Uba Baal Choiv, and comes the Baal Choiv of Reuven, B'tarfin, he takes away from Shimon. Kishu Goiva, when Shimon comes to go ahead and collect from Reuven the field, Goiva Sakerim and Chasim Mishubadim, the original price. Shvach, he collects from the Chasim B'nei Chayrin. The improvement, he only collects from property that is not Meshubit. Pisak Gedaitach, the Ikni V'kona Umachar, the Ikni Kona V'hoirish, Loi Mishtabid, Baal Choiv, my Goiva Shvacha. Why is he collecting Shvach at all? Guys, the Shvach was not acquired. He doesn't have to pay for it all. In other words, it wasn't part of the It wasn't part of the. Guys, what right did Reuven have to collect from the Leikeach of Shimon? What right did he have to go ahead and collect? Not Reuven, the Balchoiv of Reuven. What right did he have to go ahead and collect the Shvach? The Shvach came after the loan. It got better after the loan. So why is Leikeach collecting from Reuven? Why is Leikeach collecting Reuven's Shvach at all? The Shvach that Shimon improved came after the loan. It must be Meshubed, and therefore you're collecting. So it's a raya that you do collect. Says Gemara, and the Gemara, Hamani Reb Meir, Dama Adam Makna B'Shalaylam. Same teretz. Now, new kasha, but similar. Imtim Salayma. In the shaila that we were in Poishit, there'll be Poishit, the Ikni V'Kona Umachar, the Ikni V'Kona B'Hoirish, Loy Mishtabid, that it's not Meshubid, and therefore you can't collect from it, right? That's Hola Mishtabid. It's nothing to talk about. There's no shaila over there. But Imtim Salayma Mishtabid, right? If you're going to tell me that it is Meshubid, so the guy wrote the Mishtabid Loiva. The Loiva was Mishtabid by himself saying, he wrote in the Shtar Ikni, anything, a property that I have now, and any property that I will have. The lava, and afterwards what? A person comes along and he borrows. And he goes ahead and he borrows from him. The Chazav V'Kona, and now he acquires new property. Mahu. Because what's the Shiloh over here? What's the Shiloh over here? Okay, let's use names. Ruvain is a loiva. He borrowed money from Harry. Then Ruvain acquires property. Ruvain also then, before he acquired the property, he borrowed a second time from Fred. So now Ruvain has two Bali Chayvus on him. He has Fred and he has Harry. Fred and Harry. He owes both money. He now acquires property. Is there a pecking order? Would Harry get before Fred? Or do we say no? Do we say like the original Shibit is kind of gone? Because why? Because he acquired this new property, and therefore Fred would have equal rights as Harry. That's the Shaila. Again, so if you're going to tell me that any futures that he acquires is Meshubid, what happens if he makes two loans before acquiring the property, fellas? 2 loans before acquiring the property. Do these both guys have equal rights in it? Or is there a pecking order? In other words, do we say, and it's dated the same date. Repayment, in other words, there's not one is not before one date, one star is not before the other. If one star is before the other, then there is a pecking order. The star is not one before the other. So that's the Shiloh over here. That's the Shiloh over here. So Mahu. So Mahu, what's the din? Lekama to Harry Mishtabid, when he wrote the first star, any property that he said he will acquire is Meshubit to Harry, or Basra, or maybe to Fred Mishtabe. Because when the Loiva went ahead and now he's Mishabin himself a second time, right? Maybe it's overriding the first Shibut. So Amr of Nachman, Ham Milsa Iboilon. This question was what was asked. The Sholchu Mitam, they sent us to Eretz Yisrael. Rishon Kana, Harry is Kana. Rav Huna Amar Yechloku, Harry and Fred divided. Since the time when he acquires the Nechasim, it's Meshubit to both of them. There's no pecking order. Therefore, they divided. The Chintana Rabbi Baravua, Yechloku, they divided. Amar Avina Madura Kama de Ravashi. When we learned the first time Ravashi, Amaloi, Ravashi told us Rishon Kana, Harry's Kana. Umadura Basra de Ravashi, when we learned it the second time Ravashi, Amalon Yechloku, he told us that Yechloku, the Hilchasan Yechloku, that they would divide it up. In other words, there's no more Sheba to Harry than there is to Fred, since they was acquired after the original one. Now, again, if he had property at the time of the loan to Harry, of course the property that he has, they're talking about since it's acquired afterwards, does one have more Sheba than the other? So the answer is Yechloku, you're dividing it. Mesivei, it says the Shvach HaKois, Ketzad, a person, Ruvain, sells his friends to what? To Shimon. Bishbicha, Shimon goes ahead and improves the field. Ubob al Choiv, comes along Harry. Vitarfa and takes it away what? From Shimon. Kishu goiva, when Shimon comes and collects from Ruvain, goiva sakerim min chosim mishubadim, v'sashvach min chosim b'nei chayrin. Now, guys, shvach is considered what? The same as a loan. Shvach is considered the same as a loan. So that, meaning, it's no different than the case of Fred and Harry. So really, you should be dividing up the shvach. Says the Gemara, Im Isa, if you're telling me the din of the malva and the loiva after the first round is same, chatzi shvach mi boile. Since the loiva is meshubit to the malva to pay off the shvach, and now he was meshubit what? He was meshubit to the other person. So l'chayra, you should divide it up. Let's see the Rashbam here. Let's see the lashon of the Rashbam. The Im Isa chatzi shvach mi boile. Shekivin shemacha haloiva sadeu. Since the loiva sold his field, again the loiva sold the field, the cost of la'achrayis alav, and he said if anything, Ruvain sold the field, and he says if anyone takes it away from you, ba'acha kein ishpicha, then Shimon who bought it made it better. Halakeach nimsa hamal va'loiva shneim noisha beloiva sheshviach lekeach. Nimsa, the malva and lekeach, they both are owed by the loiva. In other words, guys, Shimon and Harry are both the same vis-a-vis Ruvain. In other words, why are you giving all the shvach to Harry? L'chayra, Shimon should keep half of it. Of course, the fact that he improved it afterwards, vis-a-vis Ruvain, is considered futures. So it's futures the gabe wat Shimon. It's futures the gabe wat the lekeach. So lekeach and Shimon should divide it rather than give the whole thing to Shimon. The nimsa shvach kana leloiva. If the shvach is kind what to the loiva, achat shibud shneim. It's after the shibud to Harry and Shimon. Then the shvach was acquired by what? By Ruvain. The milva b'chayvay lekeach b'kesef gnasai. To the milva for Shimon, for Ruvain is collecting from the loan to Shimon, the sale to Shimon, and the sale to Lekeach. Again, Shimon is the balchayt. Lafika cholkin hashvach kidin loiva, v'loiva v'chazav v'kana. Hilkach ein lemilva b'chol makam elachatz yishvach. So the malva should only get one half the shvach. That's the Gemara's kasha. The malva meaning who's taking from who? Let's see, Shimon, who's collecting from Ruvain, should only get half of the shvach. Half the shvach to him and half the shvach to Lekeach. And the Gemara answers, Einachanami. My goy v'nami dekani chatzi shvach. He only goes in and collects half the shvach. When he collects the shvach, he's only collecting half. He's not collecting the whole thing, only half.